It's undoubtedly heartbreaking to see your favorite player on the bench due to an injury. Fortunately for the Pelicans fans, Zion is back. And he's indeed back with a bang. So in today's video, we'll talk about Zion Williamson, looking amazing and dominating team scrimmage. First off, is he really back? Oh yes, he is. And no sir, it isn't any insider source. We have it out in the open under the authority of the New Orleans Pelicans coach. Willie Green broke the welcome news to the media that Zion was indeed back. But wait, it gets better, because the coach also made it a point to add in there that Zion was looking amazing and dominated the team scrimmage like a boss. That's indeed something coming from the coach of a young superstar who's been on the bench for the most part of the previous season. And why not? When you've bagged your all-star selection from a single full season in the league, the expectations are invariably high. Needless to say, that a whole season away from the court due to an injury is a dream crusher. Nevertheless, gloomy days are over now, and Zion is not only back, but he's still got it. And we're sure that Zion's fans would be as excited as his coach on hearing this. The Pelicans kicked off their training camp recently with 2 training sessions planned on that first day, one in the morning and another in the evening. It's reported that the morning session was designed to be a bit lighter, while the team went full steam during the second. The evening session also had a scrimmage portion involving 5-on-5 work. The session was important, especially from Zion's point of view, because it was the first one since May 2020. Now, let's talk about what has changed, or should we say has improved, in Zion. Moving on, Zion has improved. Well, first of all, now that Zion is actually on the court, being able to break a leg, no pun intended, that's definitely a big improvement, considering that he's on the sidelines throughout the 2021-22 season. But on a more serious note, it seems that Zion has also undergone a body transformation from last year. The upgrade has apparently improved his speed as well as the strength on the court that he flaunted gracefully during the recent practice session. And yes, don't take it from us, but when a seasoned coach tells you the same thing, you should listen, because Willie also stated in his comments that Zion's speed and strength were off the charts. He added that what stood out the most was his force. Zion was able to go down the floor quickly. He made quick decisions when in possession, and it's all a treat to watch. And rightly so. It should have been, because no one expects less from the overall #1 draft pick. Up next, what does the star of the day and his teammates have to say about this? Needless to say that Zion was in high spirits and really happy at the work he was able to put in on his first day of training. The 22-year-old remarked that he felt like he was at his best right now. He also added excitedly that he could feel moving faster and jumping higher. Talking about his transformation, the star player added that he felt in the best shape of his life. Pelicans forward Larry Nance, when asked about Zion's return, exclaimed that Williamson felt just like himself. He's impressed by Zion's agility and even went as far as saying that he'd surpassed everyone's expectations. Larry remarked that none of the teammates had expected that Zion would be back in such shape, because he hadn't played for over 500 days. He added that while everyone knew the maestro would be in great form soon, nobody really expected him to pick it up on the first day back. He also stated that while it would take time for everyone to get in sync with each other, what was going on around the field was nevertheless impressive. In response to one of the questions, Nance made a point to say out loud that Zion looked like the same wrecking ball the team loved to have on their side. Moving on, what does it look like for Pelicans now? As amazing as the situation seems for the Pelicans, there's some cold hard facts that still need consideration. One of the things that need the most attention is team chemistry. While Nance has already played with Zion before, there are still players on the Pelicans roster who'd been in action alongside him for the first time. Trey Murphy and Jose Alvarado, who joined in as rookies just last year, had never set foot in court with Williamson. The Pelicans training session session on the first day boasted their projected starting lineup: CJ, McCollum, Brandon Ingram, Herb Jones, and Jonas. However, as a seasoned coach, Green was well aware of this fact, which is why he expressed his intent that he'd switch things up in the upcoming training sessions. Talking about his thoughts after seeing Zion in action, Murphy remarked that he's very strong and looked as ready as he could ever be for the court. Alvarado also pitched in, praising Zion that he's a special player that was easy to adapt to. He also added that although they had not played with Zion before, it never felt like their first session together. He also seemed impressed with the Maestro's ability to find his way to the ball. All in all, Zion looks good. The team is happy about it, and apart from a few kinks here and there, the Pelicans are on their way to an even better season, hopefully. Fingers crossed. In other news, ESPN's famous NBA host, Rachel Nichols, has moved to Showtime. Rachel Nichols, the famous NBA host for ESPN, has confirmed that she'd be working at Showtime Basketball now. The update came roughly a year after she had disappeared from the ESPN broadcast. Reportedly, she'd be working as a host and reporter on various things, ranging from podcasts, documentaries, and possibly a monthly show. ESPN let her go after a controversial leaked audio recording involving Rachel was published in the media. The recording was from a phone call in which she's complaining about the job she'd had to give up to a fellow host. It also included a suggestion from her that didn't sit well with the network. Needless to say, both parties didn't part way on the best of terms. Just recently, Nichols made her debut on Showtime in a podcast and presented her version of the story on the whole issue. Without arguing the authenticity of the recording, she stated that much of her frustration had to do with the difficulties one has to face in the sports media business as a woman. Up next, LeBron is buying a Major League Pickleball team. Lakers star player LeBron James is reportedly looking to indulge in another off-court venture. The 37-year-old is teaming up with a pair of NBA All-Stars to buy a Major League Pickleball team. The consortium includes his former Cleveland Cavaliers teammate Kevin Love and one of his biggest rivals, Draymond Green. The founder of Major League Pickleball, Steve Kuhn, showed his excitement over the news, stating that it's indeed a watershed moment for pickleball in general and MLP in particular. He believed that this affected the growth of the sport in an extremely positive manner. Pickleball is otherwise becoming an increasingly popular sport in the USA, with an annual growth of 11.5% over a period of the last 5 years. The team being purchased by James and others is part of an MLP expansion, which would bring the total number of teams in the league up to 16. Finally, Boston Celtics head coach Ime Udoka has been suspended for the entire 2022-23 season. The Boston Celtics have recently made an official announcement that the team head coach Ime Udoka has been suspended for the entirety of the 2022-23 season for violations of the team's code of conduct. In his absence, assistant coach Joe Mazzulla has been handed the reins of the team. It's rumored on the authority of an insider source that Udoka was involved in an improperly intimate and consensual relationship with a female member of the team staff. However, just recently, the woman came forward accusing the head coach of making unwanted comments toward her, which led to an internal review. While no party has officially cited the reason for Udoka's suspension, he himself issued a vague apology, stating that he accepted the team's decision and felt sorry for letting down the organization and its fans. We know what you're thinking, whether he'd continue as Celtics head coach after the suspension. About that, to be honest, it's unclear. While the suspension of a head coach is kind of a big thing, the Celtics haven't made any comment about Udoka's future. As per their official statement, a decision on that would be made at a later date. So let's see how things turn out in the future. Nevertheless, the development is a huge setback for the Celtics, especially when they're the favorite to win the 2023 championship. championship. That's a wrap for this video. What do you think about Zion's return and his stunning form? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you at the next one.